recording? We're recording. Okay. Hi everyone. This is our first Zoom meeting. I'm sorry that we can't physically be in a meeting, but circumstances is how it is. But this will be our April meeting. It's going to be really short. We're just going to be talking about the upcoming elections, essentially, because that's all really we have left due to everything being canceled. But yeah, we'll start talking about that. How do I move slides? Okay.
So at the vaccine and microchip clinic, it was really successful, even though we had the virus thing going around. We made $3,112, and our profit was $2,046 after paying O'Bannon back for the supplies. And we had two professors come by to get their dogs vaccinated, which were Dr. Williamson and Dr. Thompson. And Dr. Williamson also made a very nice donation to our club.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on. So officer elections, like we said, that's basically going to be the subject of this whole thing. Where each one of us officers are going to talk about our description of this and hopefully get some of you guys interested in what you want to run for. Since we're going to be online for the next election, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, but we'll talk about that more towards the end. For right now, we're just going to be talking about what our positions entail. So I'll go first. So the president's description, there's a lot here, but it's all kind of general. So we provide and look for opportunities for the clubs. So like I'm constantly looking for organizations that we can partner with or things that we can do, like dinner with doctors. That kind of just came up from a brainstorm idea with a different meeting. And then leads and schedules club and officers meetings. It's harder than you think. Just with us 5 officers trying to get together, it can become a little hectic, but it works out eventually. Coordinate events such as the fundraisers, clinic, dinner with doctors, and school trips. The school trips are to UC Davis and Western University. They're normally held during the spring break. I'm sorry we're not getting to do them on Monday and Tuesday. Unfortunately, both tours had to be canceled due to the coronavirus. And then attending meetings to coordinate events. So there's a lot of behind the scenes meetings that we have to get approved as far as doing like the event review committee, and that's a meeting with a bunch of the higher ups of the university, such as like maintenance department, security, police department, things like that, that you have to meet with them to make sure that your event's completely good to go. So like that's who we had to deal with Pupcakes fundraiser, and that was very difficult because they had a bunch of hoops that you had to fill out, or hoops you have to jump through, and forms you have to fill out for that. Make sure everything is prepared for each event. That's also pretty good. Most of the time I was up the night before making sure like we had all the supplies. Make sure attend monthly HCOP meetings. So HCOP is I forget what it stands for, but it's basically
Career Opportunity Program.
Okay, yeah, just that's what it is.
I looked it
up. So that's what HCOP is. Basically, they do a pre-health committee meeting, so it's all pre-health clubs. They go have 2 officers represented there, me and my VP. She'll talk about her part a little bit later. But it's basically pre-med, pre-ophthalmology, pre-dental, you name it, they have it. We're all there basically saying what our club's doing, what events are coming up, and things like that. Maintain communication with Dr. O'Bannon and past officers for advice and help. I know I've texted the old officers quite a few times, and things like that. And Dr. O'Bannon and I kind of text back and forth sometimes. Look for funding for the club events. That's actually very important because we actually were able to get an ASI grant this year for the clinic, which was very helpful, so we didn't have to pay everything out of pocket as far as supplies went. And collaborate with all the officers for smooth sailing. So basically, like, us officers, we have a group chat where all 5 of us communicate, and pretty rapidly we'll start blowing up each other's phones pretty often. And then also being comfortable being the main representative of the club. So basically you're okay with giving your phone number out to other students or giving your email out and being able to answer those questions within a relatively fast amount of time. Also, I just want to go back to like maintaining communications with past officers. I want you guys to know that whoever runs for president or whoever gets elected president, I will be there for you guys if you need my help. I'm totally open for that. So yeah, so that's a little bit about the president. I don't want it to be like overwhelming, but I want it to be considered that you guys, it is a pretty strong like thing to work on as far as like making sure you have enough time to work on it, because it does take a lot of time. All right. Go ahead, Jesse.
All right, so next up is the vice president description. My main job, I guess, basically this semester or this year was to provide volunteer opportunities for you. I know you guys heard me talk a lot about Bully Rescue, the SPCA, Valley Animal Center, just making sure you guys are getting animal experience hours. That's not necessarily for the club, just for you guys. It's kind of my job to encourage you guys to get out there, get experience, stuff like that. A new thing that will be new to the vice president position is reserving locations for all club meetings and events. That's more complicated than we had anticipated, and that's why it's going to be added to the vice president description, just because I didn't really have a lot of things I was supposed to do. Also, along with that, we have attending HCOT meetings, other meetings with the president, and you're kind of just there to step in for whoever needs your help. And you help to ensure everything is prepared for events along with what the president would be doing, basically, and make sure we have the location, we have all the supplies, we have flyers made, all that kind of stuff, just double checking along with the president, of course, and then attending HCOT meetings monthly. And Hannah talked a little bit about that. It's kind of cool to collaborate with other club officers and see where their goals or what they did for this. And that's kind of where we got the idea for Dinner with Doctors. Another club had done it before, just not our club. And we really wish we could do that one. We're working really hard on that, but hopefully next year for the next officers. And also it steps up for the president when necessary, basically. So attending meetings, getting applications turned in, filling out forms, whatever basically anybody else needs help with. All right, next up.
So for the treasurer position, I think it should be someone who's trustworthy, because since we use like Venmo and Square, to take the money out of there, it has to be transferred to a bank account, which would be the treasurer's bank account, since that's the only way to take out the money. And I think it should be someone organized, because like through the apparel process, I had to make a lot of Excel sheets to make sure I was getting the correct sizes and make sure the jackets were like the right sizes with corresponding with the written name correctly. And also with the ASI business, since we have a business account there. Hold on, I'm trying to move. We have a club account there, so that's where the money gets deposited. And if we need to reimburse someone, that's where we take out the money. And also, if you need to apply for grants, that's where you would go through the ASI business. You have to do all the paperwork, get all the signatures needed, and make sure to turn them in during like certain time periods, because I think some of them need to be turned in 6 weeks prior to an event, and some of them 3 weeks prior to the event. And that's about it.
Sorry guys, I was trying to take minutes. So as far as secretary goes, so your main responsibilities are going to be maintaining effective records of club meetings. So that's going to include taking minutes. You're going to take minutes of all the meetings, any other events. You can take minutes at. You're going to send those out to the club members. So it's a lot of record keeping, you know, managing the club memberships, which is going to be making sure members are paying their fees and keeping track of members who have already paid their fees, along with completing the dog park hour, sorry. And then as far as communication goes, that's going to be, it's important to try to keep good communication with the Fresno City Parks office. It's really hard to get a hold of them, so you kind of just have to be persistent. But that's really important because you need to, you know, when we go out there, it's filling out liability papers, emailing those, scanning them, and sending them over to the parks office, because it's something we have to do by city agreement. And then as far as email goes, it's responding to all emails when needed. I know the other officers are really good with helping me respond to emails when it gets hectic, because it does get pretty hectic. We receive emails, especially with like when we have community events like the clinic. We had people emailing us at all times of the day, so they're really good at helping me keep track of who's emailing what, replying to them when necessary. Besides that, it's being able to communicate with the members. So sending out those minutes. All the emails you get are usually coming from me, if not from the other officers, but it's a lot of keeping track of records and being able to send those records out to the members when necessary.
Okay, and so public relations, that's what I deal with. My main job is to keep track of all the social medias that we have and keep up to date with current posts or current events, and post about different events, post about not just for our club, but if there's anything else going on campus related to veterinary medicine of some sort or animal sciences of some sort. And also create the flyer. So that's the next bullet point, have creative and innovative ideas for different types of posts, flyers. Instagram stories are a big one that get a lot of people engaged, because you can do polls on there. You can do like trivia stuff that I like to do, because not only do club members get to participate in that, but also other people from campus, anyone at Fresno State or anyone from anywhere that's following the pre-vet club can engage in that. And a lot of other pre-vet clubs from different universities follow us, and they often message our Instagram to kind of figure out different things that we're doing. So that's really cool. If you have any creative ideas, this is probably the position for you if you're super creative, because you get to create, you get to come up with fun things like the Figure It Out Friday trivias that I do. You know, we have National Dog Day and National Puppy Day that I always, you know, you guys get to send in your pictures and stuff and get recognized. And then besides the social medias, we also, our public relations is also in charge of community outreach and getting our events advertised. So that would be reaching out to news stations or radio stations or the campus departments to distribute our flyers, things like that. I would say the biggest thing is you need to have good communication skills, because you're talking to a lot of different people about different information, mostly about all the events that are happening. So yeah, that's mostly what public relations is focused on, is mainly the social media and getting our stuff advertised. Okay. So how to run for a position. One, you're gonna choose the position that you're most interested in, and one alternative, we're gonna allow you guys to run for 2 positions if you want to, or if you just want to run for one, you could just message us the one. We're gonna ask you guys to prepare a short, like 1 to 2 minute, it could be under a minute if you want, but like max 2 minutes speech / spiel, talking about your qualifications, explain why you're running or what you want to do for the club, etc. Basically a speech of why they should vote for you and like what connections you have or what your plans are for next year's club. And then you're going to submit a short summary for the club to the email so we can add it to the poll, just because not everyone's going to be able to be on Zoom at the same time, so it allows for other people to read kind of what you want to do. Your 1 to 2 short minute spiel will probably be a lot longer than your short summary. Don't make it too long because sometimes people get bored of reading bios and they could end up doing like just skipping you. So that being said, how do I make?
Can I add a little something?
Yeah, go for it.
It's not about like running. I just wanted to kind of like let you guys know that whatever position you run for, you're going to have input. Like it's not just the president and vice president's job to plan events. Like we all 5 had input and collaborated. It wasn't like one person was planning it and the others just had to go with it. We all were very involved, and all of us kind of each had an equal say in everything. I'd say anyways.
Yeah, there were many times, like me being public relations kind of have nothing to do with other parts of the club. I still helped out with a lot of that stuff too. So just because you're in one certain position doesn't mean you don't help with other things, but you mainly focus on that one part. But overall, it is a huge team effort between all of the officers to get things done. So you don't necessarily rely on just one person to just do one thing. We all help each other out with that.
Yeah, so just be able to be open to whoever you get elected. It might not be your friend that's running, for another position that you really hope gets it, but be willing to work with other people. I know last year when we all got elected, we weren't close at all. Caitlin and I were probably a little bit of friends from the clinic, and then we were like, oh no, what's going to happen? Like we have no clue or anything really in common other than we're all pre-vet students. But we ended up becoming a really close team, and it's really nice to have. Okay, so we're going to put a little poll out. If you guys want to answer it, if not, you don't have to. You can press none, or if you're not very interested, this isn't super solid, but I can relaunch. Okay, continue. Okay, can you guys see that? Can you see the poll?
Yes.
Yeah, it popped up for me.
Okay. There should. It's moving, guys. I'm surprised it worked. I'm not tech savvy at all, so like having to be a president in tech savvy world is not fun. All right.
I thought it wouldn't work, but I'm doing it on my phone and it works.
Cool. Okay. Thanks,
Awesome.
Andrew. Giving me feedback. Love it. All right. Let's see. We'll just let it go for 30 more seconds. Dr. O'Bannon, do you have any input to say, or are you good? I'm probably going to stop sharing my screen so I can see if she's typing. Anybody have any questions about anything? Okay. You guys can totally end. I'm going to stop recording.